Hello friends! If you're new to my channel, welcome and thank you for stopping by. If you are a fan or a subscriber, welcome back and thank you for the patronage. Today's topic is Our Brains, Home of the Gods. This is actually part of the Origins of Religion series. However, I am not calling it Origins of Religion anymore. So sit back and let's go. Understanding the evolutionary theory of religion involves understanding how our brains evolved. Yet how do we know how the hominin brain evolved? The evidence comes from 5 research areas: studies of skulls, studies of artifacts, post-mortem studies of primate brains, brain imaging of living primates, and studies in child development. Skulls of our ancestors have given us important information on how the human brain evolved. It is important to remember that we don't have the actual brains of our hominin ancestors because brains decompose so quickly. However, we can use these skulls to speculate on the kinds of behavior that the brain produced. Skulls that have been wholly preserved can give us a lot of information about the brains they once housed. For instance, brain volume can easily be calculated. The skulls also give us an idea of the shape of the brain, such as whether the 2 halves of the brain were symmetrical. They were in early hominins, but not later ones. We can also use skulls to make informed guesses as to the relative size and importance of the frontal, parietal, occipital, and temporal lobes. In early hominins, the occipital lobe was prominent, but in later hominins, other areas became more prominent. On the inside of the skulls, we find grooves for major arteries and veins. There are also concave impressions for the cerebellum and the frontal lobes. Ancient artifacts represent another line of evidence for how hominin brains evolved by providing clues about the cognitive abilities of our ancestors. We have found that Homo habilis about 2 million years ago improved upon tools made by earlier hominins, suggesting higher intelligence and improved cognitive functioning. Shells have been found that were altered for jewelry by early modern Homo sapiens, indicating they had acquired the ability to think about what others were thinking about them around 100,000 years ago. Archaeologists have found food, tools, weapons, and other grave goods buried with the dead about 27,000 years ago, which suggests the ability to think about life after death. Post-mortem exams of the brains of humans and other primates are another source of knowledge. Scholars generally accept the premise that areas that evolved early in Homo sapiens mature early. Similarly, areas that evolved later mature later. We also gain knowledge through the comparison of post-mortem human brains to post-mortem brains of other primates. Such studies reveal which brain areas have increased or decreased over the course of evolution, relative degree of connectivity between brain areas, if there are any cell types unique to human brains, the spacing of cells, and if differences in chemical composition of substances like neurotransmitters exist. Scholars assume that the size of a brain area correlates to the importance of said area. For instance, bats have large auditory cortices because they rely on sound. Comparing the relative size of brain areas in chimps and humans helps us identify which areas are more important to humans and have evolved more recently. The relatively new area of brain imaging gives us another line of evidence. These include MRI, functional MRI, and diffusion tensor imaging. fMRIs link specific functions to specific areas, while DTI allows us to see white matter. So a brief overview of what white matter is. We have two quote-unquote matters in the brain, gray matter and white matter. Gray matter is what the cortices are made up of, and white matter is the connections between the gray matter. White matter includes glial cells. The last area for information about brain evolution is child development. While the physical development of the human fetus does not recapitulate evolutionary development precisely, there are broad parallels. This is especially true when we talk about cognitive development. The cognitive evolution of humans thus opened up the possibility for gods and civilizations. This series will outline the major cognitive advances that made this possible. Well, friends, that's it for today. I apologize for this being a little longer than my other videos, but I wanted to get all of it in one go so we can start with the cognitive developments the next time. If you like this kind of content, hit the like button, press the subscribe button, and if you'd like to be notified when I come out with new content, please hit the bell next to the subscribe button. My Twitter, Discord, email, and PayPal links are in the description. If you would like to support this channel, please visit my PayPal link. Also, please leave comments. I love hearing from you. Question everything and never be afraid. Here are a couple of videos from my library. If you have not watched them, go ahead and watch them and tell me what you think. Also, if I have said anything in this video that you do not understand, please leave it in the comments and I will explain it. Thank you. Goodbye.